You are listening to Pilot Talk by OSM Aviation.
All right, man.
Hey, Stein. How's it going, buddy?
It's going pretty good, Michel.
Looking good.
Yeah, you too, man.
It's too bad we don't have a video.
Yeah, we got to put that up for
Exactly.
future episodes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to present myself. Well, no, you should go ahead first. You're young.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, such
well,
a gentleman,
you're
as
better
always.
looking than I am, so what the hell?
That's up for debate.
Let's go.
All right, anyways, but for you guys listening, my name is Stein, Norwegian guy. I live in Sweden right now, but I'm a pilot, and I've been a flight instructor for over 10 years. And that is what we're going to be talking about here. Planes, aviation, flight training, the pilot industry, or the aviation industry, and so on and so forth.
Everything.
And with me, I have...
Michel Treskin. I'm also a pilot. I'm an older pilot, but same thing as Stein. I'm as interested in aviation as he is, and we both work for OSM Aviation.
Yeah.
And you are...
I am the Director of Marketing for OSM Aviation Academy.
Which means what?
It means that, I get to go out and talk to people about aviation, about our industry, tell them what it's all about, and then people can figure out if it's right for them or not. So, I try to get students or potential students interested in aviation and interested in our academy.
Okay.
Meet them, meet their families, and so on and so forth. And then obviously, we run a website, we've got a YouTube channel, we've got all this other stuff that we put out there. But I also do a lot of networking with partner airlines, bridging the gap, helping the students when they get towards the end of their training to prep them for their first interview and to go out into the job market,
Yeah, outside the world.
Outside in the real world,
Big world. That's right.
Yeah, and when they get close to graduation, it's been a tough ride it's been 20 months of intense studying and flight training and all that stuff, and I usually say to them, congratulations, the easy part is over.
That's right.
That's
right.
Going
and
out
what is
there.
the hard part?
It is the hard part, yeah. But I think, and also that's why it's so cool now that the OSM Aviation and OSM Aviation Academy are collaborating, because now we give our students a conditional job offer. So when they start flying at our school, they, as long as they live up to the expectations, they're in a really good position to.
And they are airline ready.
They are airline ready.
And we'll talk about that later, what it is and what it means, and how does it compare to the other schools, I guess. We should also stress that.
That's a really good point, man. Really dive into what that means, right?
It's huge. I think it's huge. I personally think it's huge, yeah.
It is. Yeah, and it's a very broad subject because we do lots of things to make them airline ready. It's not like one...
Just one thing.
It's not
the
one,
whole package.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the holistic approach.
Yeah.
And you're a part of that too. I mean, you work with pilot recruiting and selection, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm the head of pilot selection. I work with my boss, Michael Keating, who's also a pilot. We're both ex-military pilots. Ex-commercial pilots. We're now too old to fly, unfortunately. I've reached an age where, it's time to settle down and hang the spurs.
You look like you're 35, man.
Thanks, buddy. That's why we need the video, so people can see how young I look. But 45 years in the business, and thousands and thousands of hours of everything, fixed wings, rotary wings, gliders, everything. And I do call myself an aviation specialist. I do call myself as well a selection specialist, because I've done this for a long time. And even when I was in the military, I did the selection. So, but I'm part of the big family of OSM. It's all about people. And we're going to talk more about that in the shows to come. But I'm so excited that this is our first one, the first podcast. We want to make sure that the listeners do participate as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we spoke about that earlier, and you said it would be a great idea to ask the listeners what they want to hear about,
Yeah.
It's a podcast about aviation, about flight training, about planes, about anything that has to do with our industry. And, we've got a couple of ideas of subjects for some of the episodes, but we'd really love to hear what you guys, the listeners, would like to hear us talk about.
And even though if you're not a pilot, and you want to be a pilot, well, we're here to help. We're here to motivate you, and there's nothing hard to be a pilot, but you still have a lot of work to do, and it's a gradual climb. But once you've reached that plateau, if you want, of your first job, your first seat, then it's still a lot of work to be done, but it's so gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah. The sense of achievement along the way, throughout the training, from not having touched a plane before to doing your first solo flight without an instructor to earning your wings at the end of the training. And then, like you said, the really big milestone for everybody is getting that first job and start working as a first officer and flying around the world and moving passengers and cargo and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think, what I think is really cool now that OSM Aviation and OSM Aviation Academy is working so closely together is that you guys who have so much experience, you share that with the future generation of pilots. So all the students that enroll in our academies, you guys spend time with them, you come visit our schools, you're mentoring them, guiding them.
Yeah.
In addition to all the training and education and the knowledge and the skills that they're obtaining, that's really valuable.
Absolutely.
And I think just to go into that too, the reason why we wanted to start this podcast is because like Michel said, we're two different generations of pilots, and I get to spend lots of time with Michel, with Michael, with Arl, with his team, and we've been traveling around doing some road shows, doing some work together, and I just thoroughly enjoy just talking to you guys, if wherever we are, getting to take part in your experience and to hear about your guys' perspective and your knowledge, and that really helps me grow and develop. And then, you and me talked about, hey, there's probably lots of others who want to
share the experience.
Exactly, yeah. Who want to hear about this stuff.
And vice versa. I mean, it doesn't, you've got 10 years of instructing outside of what we did. I did instructing, but I did military instructing. So it's all new to me, if you want, in a way. And you've been out there. You were in San Diego, and now you're here. And we got a school in Sweden. We got a school in Norway. And tell us more about that. We got more schools coming up, right?
Yeah, we do. And we even have a satellite base in San Diego, California, like you said. It's I worked there for 2.5 years training. It was a Swedish school in the U.S. training Chinese pilots. So
Chinese pilots, Swedish school, and in the U.S.
Yeah, so it was a
smorgasbord.
It was a smorgasbord. That's a good word for it. And it's just and for anyone who's flown in Southern California, it's just a great place to fly. It's really congested, complex airspace, lots of stuff going on.
Right.
So there's action all the time, but a really great place to live and fly but our two, fully owned and operated schools are in Västerås in Sweden, just outside of Stockholm, like you said, and then Arendal in southern Norway. So the school in Norway we just opened a year ago, or less than a year ago, September 2018.
Yeah, I was there 2 days ago. Fantastic.
Yeah, down talking to the students, right? Yeah. So we have 2 classes that have started there already, students from all over Europe, Dutch students, Italian, French, Norwegian, Swedish, obviously.
Yeah. Dutch guys, we talk about that.
Yeah, so it's a really cool, it's an international environment, and I think that's really important too, because the job is in an international environment, so they need to get used to, different cultures, and the aviation language is English, so they speak English at the school. Obviously.
I was quite impressed. I went, like I said, I was there 2 days ago because I do some mentoring for the cadets. And I did a couple of lectures on what you look for when you become a pilot, and what we're looking for when you get selected by an airline. But the caliber of the instructors, the facility is just top notch. I don't think there's, mind you, I haven't seen other schools before that well equipped and well run. I mean, the chief pilot is fantastic. Everybody was just fantastic, incredible. OSM did a good job there.
Yeah, it's a great team, and like you said, we started greenfield operation in 10 months, so less than a year. We had a school up and running, and it's
unbelievable.
If we got any colleagues listening now, just thank you to all of the people who put down the tremendous work of getting it up to that standard.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's a team effort.
Yeah, it's a fantastic achievement.
Huge team effort, yeah.
And yeah. So podcasting, man. This is brand new to us.
It's a brand new thing for us.
Yeah. So we're just we're trying to figure out what we're going to talk about in the upcoming episodes. It's going to be on the theme of flying and aviating.
Absolutely.
Of course.
We could. I was thinking about that last time we talked about it. I think we spoke about even talking about phase of flights. We can talk about how the ground handling and all that stuff. It'll be more geared to the academy and to the teaching and the progression of getting your wings, I guess.
Yeah.
And to a point. We definitely will talk about if there's any aviation incident, accident. We definitely could have a discussion that.
Yeah.
Because I do love everything about aviation, and I do like a lot about trying to analyze and try to think just like the pilot and see and try to guess what exactly happened to the aircraft. We'll definitely get some things going on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. The next subject for the podcast will be announced when we do the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
it's going to be cool.
Yeah,
it's going to be something to do with aviation.
Yeah,
but we're going to keep it in a. We're going to do that plane talk. We're going to make sure that our listeners, even though they're not pilots, we're going to keep the lingo to a normal, understandable.
And that's tougher than you might think because we have all this internal, there's
I'm going to correct you and you correct me.
Yeah, we got to look out for each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we do the podcaster monitoring and the podcaster flying.
That's right. Exactly. So it's going to be cool. I can't wait. So OSM Aviation is two parts. We've got it's a total crew management company. Besides the academy, we've got almost 6,000 employees.
Wow.
We're in 18 different countries and then some coming up. Lots of recruitment, lots of training. We do a lot of management and even we go out there and plan and execute and help airlines to increase their profit margin, to get the best pilots in the world. We almost guarantee our product. So that's the management part, and then we got the exciting academies that we have right now. We got 3, and we got more on the way, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to expand too, to have. Our ambition is to have one more training location in the U.S.
Yeah.
And that we've,
Do you know where that's going to be? Or?
I think it's going to be East Coast, man. That's to spread us out.
Like Florida sort of thing, or?
Florida's a good candidate. I did my initial training there. I think you've flown there quite a bit too.
Yeah.
Florida's great because it has fantastic weather.
Radar environment.
Yeah. And there's lots of airports, lots of places to go to, and diversity and training and flying into different airports and that kind of stuff.
I heard Spain.
Oh, muy bien.
Muy bien.
Spain is a nice country. Yeah, I used to live there when I was a little kid, but I can't barely remember it. But
I think that they were talking about Spain because in the winter months, mostly IFR here in Norway, almost like England. So I think they want to make sure that we have better cavalcade, clear weather, so we can do more visual stuff.
Yeah. So for the students that are early in their training,
that's right. Yeah.
They can't fly in that type of weather yet.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Having
continuity is a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. To make sure that our students can keep progressing and keep flying and.
Right.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff happening with this expansion, man. And I think on the highest level, what we're trying to do is to make flight training more accessible. Through having more schools.
Everyone.
Yeah, to everyone, and just to be in more geographic locations, and also we just placed an order of 60 all electric aircraft.
Awesome.
And initially that's a big investment. And it's gonna, so it's gonna have to pay them off and all that stuff. But once we do, their operating cost is much lower. So
and that's going to be a unique thing. Right?
Exactly, yeah. So not just is it good for the environment if we, as long as we charge it with renewable energy, but in the long run, we we're probably going to be able to squeeze down the prices too, so making it easier for more
accessible.
people to afford flight training.
Yeah. Because it is expensive.
It is, yeah, obviously, because, it's not like a typical education. You need a classroom or, facilities and teachers. And we need the same thing, but we also need aircraft. They're expensive to buy, to maintain, to operate, the fuel, all that stuff, maintenance. And then we need simulators too, sophisticated simulators to...
It all adds up.
Yeah. And that obviously, takes the cost up.
Yeah, we'll definitely go through that whole thing in future podcasts, but we'll talk about what it takes to be a pilot. Where definitely there is a selection, right?
Yeah, of course.
We don't take everybody.
No,
we will take everybody initially, but you'll be tested, right?
Yeah, and this is important. And I think it's good that you bring it up, because we have what we call the pilot aptitude tests.
Right.
And what we measure there is the propensity for you to be successful in your flight training and in your future career as a pilot.
So basically, you want the guy to,
Or girl.
Or girl, that's right. The person not to enter the program without at least knowing that they have the capability to finish the program.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And
makes sense.
like you said, not everybody makes it through these tests, and obviously that's if you don't make it through, that's that can be tough to take that news, but
Right. But it doesn't make
then
you a bad
again,
person.
exactly. Then again, you don't want to venture into a field where you don't have the what's required to succeed. Then it's better to pursue a different career.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, hopefully, it is very important that our pilots are extremely capable, because they are responsible for hundreds of people and their lives and well-being, and they need to have the right stuff. They need to have what it takes. So the testing, yes, we do it for our own sake, to make sure that the students that start at our academies have what it takes to get through the education and to get a job on the other end. But it's also for the individual. So you don't waste your time, your precious time and effort and money on an education that's not right for you.
On that subject of the right stuff and all that, I always wondered, like, for me, I started gliding when I was 13 years old and all that, and it just came to me very naturally. It just meant I think I had I don't know if I can say the right stuff, but it was just so natural for me to get in there and use my hands and my feet and the coordination and stuff. Is there any way that, in your experience as a with the flight academies and all that stuff, that a person can actually look in the mirror and say, or can see that he's got some talent, some potential, just about his day-to-day life? Is there any way is there anything that give an indication that he's got it?
I think what you said there is something that I encourage, because sometimes we have really young people come into our events, and what I mean by that is like 10, 12, 13, 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
And they want to become pilots, and they go, how can I prepare? What can I start doing already now? And I always recommend what you just said: get involved in a flying club, start flying gliders, that kind of stuff, because it really gives you a good indication, and it also helps you develop those skills.
That's right. Yeah.
Since you started at such an early age, I'm sure that's been a contributing factor to your excellent stake and rudder skills.
I think so. Yeah. It could have been. Yeah.
But
if you're in you're the more sport-minded guy or girl, that definitely will help a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything that has you, optimizing your eye-hand coordination skills. So, basketball, football, any type of sport, tennis,
Any kind of sport.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting in a room and watching TV or playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would video games help someone?
Yeah, I think actually, video games could help, yeah.
They probably help.
I think so, but it depends on the type of video game, obviously. But there are flying games. I meet lots of youngsters that spend a lot of time using Flight Simulator or playing those military fighter plane games, that kind of stuff, because that actually gives you better spatial orientation and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that can be helpful, but I think it's a good mix here. Is, like you said, if you're just inside playing video games all day, maybe it's a better balance if you do some sports, play a little bit of games.
Because in my generation, we didn't have that.
No, I know, yeah.
We just were outside every day playing cowboy and Indian and climbing trees and things like that. But nowadays, a new generation is so in the automation and more sitting at home and playing stuff that requires more an eye, brain sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think the balance is the key word here.
Yeah.
Because if you take it to the extremes and you only do one thing or you don't get any balance, it's important to stay active. It's important to like you said, get out there, play with your friends, do some sports, stay physically active.
Yeah.
It's also important because, it's like you don't have to be a superhuman to be a pilot, but you certainly need to have good health.
Right.
Because for pilots, and some of you might know this, some of you might not, you need to undergo a medical examination.
Yeah,
and then you get a medical certificate, and you need both your medical certificate and your pilot certificate to be able to exercise the privileges of being a commercial pilot.
So the healthier, the better.
Yeah, the healthier, the better. And and you need to renew it every year, like you said, and when you get older, every 6 months.
Right.
Pilots need to take care of their health.
Right. And the same with vision.
Yeah.
Do you need the perfect vision? Like when I went in the military, they wouldn't take anybody that had glasses. But nowadays,
for civil aviation, you can use glasses and lenses.
Right.
But there are certain limitations, that you have to be within. Mm-hmm. But it's a myth that you can't fly if you have glasses. But I understand for military aviation, it's a different story because you're pulling so many G's.
Ejection seats.
Exactly. So if you were wearing lenses or glasses, that wouldn't work. And flying inverted and whatnot. But in civil aviation, it's more lenient.
Right.
With that said, you can't be colorblind though. That's the deal breaker.
Now I heard about colorblind lists that they might now change the rules on that. So we'll keep our listeners connected onto that. But they're trying to look at why do we need color, to be not colorblind for flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways.
But wouldn't that, to me, all the different colors, you got green, red, indications.
But there's always something written on the
I guess
master caution.
It could be textual.
It could be.
Yeah. So then the color indications. Okay.
Something
That's
to think
interesting.
about.
And I think you're absolutely right here about keeping an open mind because in medicine and things that are developing today that we couldn't even dream of.
And we need pilots.
Yeah, we do need pilots.
How many pilots do we think we need?
Oh man, there's a few different estimates. Boeing and Airbus, two of the largest airplane manufacturers, put out these market outlooks and pilot outlooks every year, and it is a profound need for pilots. I think in the next 2 decades, they're saying that almost 800,000 pilots.
Over 500,000.
Yeah.
And that's without the pilots now. That's like the new pilots.
Yeah, because the fleet is going to double over the next 15 to 20 years. We got about 21,000 airplanes in the air now that are operating.
Unbelievable.
And it's going to be 43,000 something in 15 to 20 years.
Crazy.
And
Crazy.
Someone's going to need to fly those planes.
Yeah. So it's a good time to join. It's a good time to think about becoming a pilot.
Yeah.
Time.
Want to have an office at 38,000 feet? Now's the time.
That's it. Flying the best of the best.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to talk about that a little much more in depth. We're going to talk about the selection process. We're going to talk about what we're looking for if you want to become a student pilot. We're going to look at what you want to become, what you need to do if you want to change your job and go into a different airplane and all that. So. It's going to be an exciting podcast.
It is. We're going to talk about helicopters too, or just planes?
We're going to talk about helicopters. We're going to talk about gyrocopters. We're going to talk about
hot air balloons.
Well, everything that has to do with flying. But our specialty is definitely
it's fixed wing, right?
Fixed wing.
It's airplanes.
It'll be cool. All right, Stein. That's about it for today.
That's a wrap. And thanks for listening, guys. Remember that you can find the podcast at osmaviation.com/podcast or osmaviationacademy.com/podcast. You can also find it on Spotify and iTunes. And next time, we're going to talk about reasons for why you should or shouldn't become a pilot, right,
That's
Michel?
right, exactly. So it's going to be the beginning of a series of how, why, and all the good things about being a pilot and how to become, and the good reasons why you should become a pilot.
Indeed.
So on that note, listen, I'm going to wish everybody blue skies.
And safe landings.
Roger that.
Ciao.